Hello, what's going on YouTube fam? This is J Money here, and I'm bringing you guys a video regarding some wind-up discussion, basically the future of the deck. And it's not referencing the ban list, because I know a lot of people like the ban list, but you know, me being one of the maybe few people that actually hate the ban list. One, because they did absolutely nothing to Dracos. I mean, yeah, they banned Masterpiece, but all their floodgates, all their draw cards and everything are still all at 3 copies. They gave them back Dynamite Knuckle, they gave them back, you know, Ignis Heat to 3, but they didn't give anything back to the decks that actually got directly supported by Flames of Destruction. I'm talking about Shaddolls, Inzectors, Wind-Ups. I'm talking about all those things that got some sort of support from this set. Now, last set and last ban list, they did a good job, you know. They gave Qliphort some support, not only with a new Link monster known as Qliphort Genius, but they also unlocked Qliphort Towers to, you know, support the archetype, you know, of the cards that are of the set they're coming out of. It's a good business practice and it's a good selling point for their sets. But they dropped the ball on this one, you know. They decided to unlock irrelevant cards like, you know, Compulse Evac and, you know, Grand Mole, rather than giving Dragonfly and Hornet, you know, a second number. You know, they could have semied those. They could have put Magician back to 3 by itself and that would have been fine. You know, making that more consistent. But you know, they could have gave Shaddolls back their MVP. They could have gave them back their Construct, but they did none of that. You know, it takes more than just, you know, hitting decks and banning stuff, you know, to make a good ban list. You also have to unlock things too. You know, they need to do less banning and more unlocking, because again, the TCG's side of the ban list is just really, really huge. And I don't know why TCG Konami is just so reluctant to bring cards back, but something's got to change regarding that, because again, Grand Mole should have been unlocked 4 years ago. 4 years ago, like why? Like, what's the reason for holding him so long? But you know, still waiting on my carrier to come right back to me. But anyway, what you're looking at here is the deck that I've essentially played 2 locals with this past weekend. Now it is, and now before I want to get to that, I want to shout out a YouTuber known as Brontome or Brontome. I don't know how you pronounce that. I probably butchered it, but he's a YouTuber that is really essentially bringing this sort of discussion to light. And this is, you know, why wind-ups are about to get a whole lot better, regardless, you know, of how that ban list turned out, because, you know, this ban list was their moment, you know. But anyway, nonetheless, the deck will still get much better in the next set, and I'll explain everything in a bit. But before I get to that, I want to go ahead and show you guys the deck that I basically took to 2 locals, and I did relatively well. The first locals I've only lost once. It was to Tricksters, and that was Friday. And then Saturday I went to a locals, and I lost to Tricksters again. And I lost some Magic Bullets, or Magical Musketeers, whatever you want to call that stuff. I bricked those against those 2 decks on Saturday. I bricked Game 3, both games. Sided 5 cards, both games. And opened 3 cards that I sided, and no combo pieces, both games. And it was weird, and you know, like I would draw 3, like, you know, I would end up like going like turn 3s and stuff and still not having any combo pieces both games. So yeah, that was weird, but it's whatever. One thing I learned about this deck just auto loses the Tricksters for starters, because there's so many things that you need in your hand, and most notably Wind-Up Shark. And if you reveal that thing, if you summon a Magician or if you summon your Bat, and they rip that shit from the hand with Reincarnation, you're fucked. Just bottom line. Reincarnation should have gotten limited, but that's besides the point. So, what all did I notice as I was playing this deck? Well, for starters, I'm glad I thrown in the Chalices and the Kaijus and stuff in place of all the other stuff. They've been a huge help. I've actually lost a lot of die rolls the past 2 locals, so If it weren't for these guys, if I would have made my deck just purely for going first, I would have lost a lot more games. So, there's that. That's my 2 cents on that. Again, you never want to just make your deck a go first or bust deck. So, what were the MVPs? Well, for starters, Wind Up Kitten at 2 copies. Once again, I don't know why people do not like this card at multiples. Like, it is so needed, like, in the deck. Like, and it's like, since you're playing Rescue Cats, which is another new addition, you can't play, you know, just one, because if you open this and you're forced to summon 2 rats, and that is absolutely horrible. You do not want to summon any rats from the deck that's not off of Magician or Carrier, period, like point blank. Like, unless it's like from Transmodify, you know, you can transmod the kitten into a rat, then at that point, then go for it. Yeah, you know, do that. But, anyway, the Rescue Cat got me there a lot of times, but it wasn't just Rescue Cat. Sometimes it would be cat combo with either a shark or double summon, which is also a new addition. The reason why I have double summon is because, well, you need it. You need a second summon, but I didn't want to play Brilliant Fusion because I didn't want to play even more Garnets, and I didn't want to take up more extra deck space than necessary. Now, the second MVP was Wind Up Bat, because if I drew Machine Dupe in a Wind Up Bat, like, I would essentially, like, it accesses me Magician. It gives me access to the things I need to access, because this plus Shark or this plus double summon in any other monster can get access to my Magician combos, because if you Machine Dupe this, you have 3, and if you have Shark or a double summon, you have 4. You use 2 of these, you make it in maintenance, and you add your Magician or add your Factory. If you can trigger the Factory, which you can if you resolve this. You know, obviously using Bat, you grab one of the Bats just so you maintain some sort of card advantage, and you use the last one plus a Shark or whatever you double summon into a Nightmare Goblin, and you like pitch Magician to summon Rat, or you search Rat because you already opened Magician, but you didn't open Shark, and it's like, it's so good because, you know, Goblin plus Zen Maintenance gets you anywhere you need to go, because Zen Maintenance searches you that missing piece that you need, and Goblin, you know, kickstarts it. So that is something that's been really notable. Now, the least useful thing all tournament was Rescue Ferret, and I've noticed, like, every time it was live, it was when I already had setup, and so at that point it wasn't as useful. And generally the most ideal setup you want is when you already have a Skuldeat on the board, and by then you should have, if you're summoning Skuldeat, you should already have combo. So I ended up taking this out after the first locals and throwing the second here Rock Sunrise, because I noticed myself missing a Monster Reborn. Like, every time I resolve Rescue Cat and I don't have a double summon or a Shark, I find myself wanting another Monster Reborn, because when I summon this, I don't want to just summon this and pass, you know, because that's just absolutely horrible. But if you cat into a rat and a cat, and you can Monster Reborn a rat and summon your cat after you search stuff yours in maintenance, and you can go into your Troy Mirror Goblin and kickstart your combos off that way. So that was really nice. Like, I honestly want more Monster Reborns, you know. I mean, I already have 5, but, you know, it's whatever. So, I've been Ibly locked a couple times. Thank God I've had, like, a Mermaid in the extra just to counterplay against it. So that was nice. But anyway, on to the discussion at hand. I've already rambled on for about 10 minutes. So, what is going to make this deck better, even though, you know, we don't get Carrier, we don't get Magician to 3, or any of that? Well, the YouTuber that I, you know, shouted out earlier, Brontome or Brontome, I don't know which one he is, but he mentioned some of the Palladions now, or Palladions, I don't know what the hell you call that archetype, but Palladions, they'll be on the screen somewhere. But Palladions are essentially like the new World Legacy-ish archetype for the next set in Cybernetic Horizon. You know, they all have like main effects that allow you to special summon them from the hand in defense to a link zone. They all have that effect in terms of their main deck monsters. And they all have like, I think, other effects when they're summoned. Now, what's been brought to my attention is that one of them, which is the fire one, it's a fire level 3 spellcaster, which, you know, makes Transmodify like really, really synergetic with it. And so that's when I started thinking, I'm like, okay, well, you know, what if I don't hard draw it? And then I started thinking a little bit more, and I noticed that, hey, I forgot that Palladions do have a Link 1 that if any monster is special summoned to its zone, you get to add a Palladion monster, period. So from there, I started bridging out and trying to find the best engine, and lo and behold, I have actually found out a few things. Not only is, you know, the Fire Palladium, which I plan to play 3 copies, I still plan to play Rescue Cat because there is something that synergizes with that as well. I do plan to play the Fire Palladium in 3 copies. I don't know what I'm going to swap out. I don't know if I'm going to take out 1 Summoner Monk or whatnot, but you want to access the Fire Palladium because Magician is still at 2. When the Palladions come out, I plan to play Transmodify 3 copies, simply because of the fact that, you know, well, once again, that Fire Palladium monster accesses Wine of Magician, especially if you Rescue Cat into his in maintenance and you have Transmodify in hand already. You just access Magician for free from the deck. You know, now, like I said, you know, this already has synergy with Wine of Kitten and Wine of Brat because they're both the same type and attribute, but Wine of Brat is 1 level higher, which, you know, makes it amazing. So, what other cards do you play? Well, there is, oh yeah, well, the Fire Spellcaster, you know, its effect reads something along the lines of when you summon it, you can target 1 Palladion monster you control and 1 card your opponent controls and destroy them both when it's summoned. So, it's a break sword, a pseudo break sword on summon for Palladion monsters. Now, the M-Duck, I call it the M-Duck because it looks exactly like M-Duck, except it's like a little bit more armored. That is the good one that a lot of people are agreeing that is like the best one. And that one is, when you summon it, you can add any Palladion monster from your graveyard to your hand, but it has no synergy in this deck, but it is still a really good card nonetheless. But there is also 1 Palladion monster, other main deck Palladion monster that also synergizes with this deck, and it is it's a lion. It's the lion-looking guy. He's a level 3 Earth Beast, which really synergizes with the Rescue Cat in so many ways. But like, we're never gonna use his effect. It's there simply because it synergizes with Rescue Cat. And I've done some test hands already with this engine, and most of the times, if you like open any of these, that's not the Beast and a Rescue Cat, you have it. You basically have it. And it's like, okay, you Rescue Cat into a Wino Kitten and the level 3 guy. You go into the Link 1. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Link 1 is, I think I just said it, but if any monster is special summoned to its zone, you add a Palladion monster from your, to your hand from the deck. So if you Rescue Cat into, like, a Kitten and one of the Palladion monsters, which is obviously going to be the Beast because it synergizes with it, you can immediately link that off, leave the Kitten on the board, and you go into your Palladion Link monster, it has an arrow pointing down, you special, like, the M-Duck, you know, so you can not only grab this back to your hand because it has not special summoned by its own effect, and that's the other thing, you can only special summon these Palladion main deck monsters by their own effect once, but since you summon this off of a Rescue Cat, it still gets a special summon. But not only that, but since you summon to under its zone, not only did you add this to hand, but you're going to add one of the fire magicians from your deck to your hand. And from there, you can link off like the kitten and like your Imduck or your like whatever you special. Like if you open fire, that's good. Then you know you can go ahead and play Transmodify and access your magician right away to start your combo. But from there, you can sit there and you can go into your Troymere Goblin and kickstart your combos that way if you have Transmodify in hand. But if not, you can just sit on a you can go into Binary Sorceress instead if you don't have your combo still, and you can special both the Imduck and the and the Lion, and you can just go straight into a Skull Deep because you have the Link 1 Palladion, you have the Binary Sorceress, you have the Imduck, and you have the Magician, and you can make Skull Deep and you can get your combo off that. Now, all of that was off of a Rescue Cat, really, and just opening any of these other ones. Now, again, once this stuff comes out, Transmodify is going to be great. I see great potential with this engine. It's like really a really condensed package. I'm only playing the Fire one in 3 copies because it synergizes with Magician, and Magician is your main combo starter. This is, you're investing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 cards. With a real, it's like really condensed, and it keeps your card advantage. Your card, you know, it really keeps your resources like up there. Your resources are not getting drained. Like if you haven't noticed, like all of this is off of Rescue Cat and just having any one of these in your hand. Now a lot of these, if you have like 2 of these in your hand, it's still good because you can literally normal one and go into your Link 1 and special the other. And like if you have the Magician, if you special that and you have the Transmod, you can add the Imduck, Transmod to the Magician, summon your Shark, and all that stuff. And then much later on, you can special the Imduck and grab this, or grab this, whichever one you didn't special summon by its own effect, and just pop off. It's so good. It's such an amazing engine. And it's like, okay, in terms of extra deck space, I'm only playing like 1 Palladion Link 1. For now, that's what I'm planning to do. So I'm liking this engine and what it does to the deck again. Like, literally 3 of their main deck cards synergize with this deck so well. Well, I mean, except this one. This one is just really good. It's just really fucking good. That's all I gotta say about that one. But the Fire one synergizes because Transmodify is super live. And it, like, I was playing Transmodify in this deck already, but the problem was, it's only good if I have access to Wind Up Kitten. Now, like, it was good even if you went first, because you can go Magician, Shark, and Magician, and then summon like a kitten instead of Rat. So you can go ahead and Transmodify the kitten into a rat, so it's live. You make yours in maintenance, then use Rat effect, and then you can banish it. Oops, my bad. But, you know, that was cool stuff, but it just seemed like it was dead if I didn't have anything to go off of, if I didn't have anything to combo with at all. But thanks to this new engine and just how much it synergizes, you know, this with Magician, the Lion guy with Rescue Cat, and all that stuff, and it's super condensed, and I don't have enough good things to say about this, but let me know what you guys think about this engine in this deck in particular. Are there any other decks that you guys have also noticed that the Palladion monsters would also synergize with? Well, you know, let me know. I'd like to hear your thoughts about this. But once the engine comes out, which is next set, I'm playing these Transmods at 3 copies. I'm playing 3 Fires, Spellcasters, 3, like 1 Imduck and 1 Lion guy and 1, I forget what the extra deck monster's name is called, but yeah, there's that. So thank you guys very much for watching. This is J Money, and I am signing out.